Hello, everyone, and welcome back to WISHLIST, Texas. Hope everybody's doing great today. I pulled out a mold here, and this is the Crystal Edge mold. Don't pay any attention to that writing there. And I am going to attempt, hopefully, to get a Larimar done. This will be my second time trying a Larimar, so I'm hoping that I'm going to get one. Okay, guys, give me just a minute. I'm going to grab some cups to um, get everything separated. I did get some cups. I ordered some cups off of Amazon because, you know, just some El Cheapos that I could use, just to toss in the trash and throw away. That way I'm not, using good cups. And y'all can see there, it's just cheap, clear plastic cups. Nothing fancy. They didn't cost much. I was going to get them at Walmart, but Walmart was out of them. So, but these come, two stacks to a thing. I don't remember how much I paid for them, but I'll link them in the description box in case anybody's interested in getting some cheaper cups, for when you go and separate your resin and all that for your pigments and all that. Because I know sometimes you need bigger cups, to separate things and, all that. And sometimes paper cups just aren't enough. So you need the bigger cups. And, these and the paper cups, I don't mind tossing because they're so cheap. All right, well, I'm going to grab some molds. So in case, when I mix up my resin and I have extra, then, we'll have some extra molds to be able to pour in them because I don't know how much really this mold holds. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have extras. I don't know what these molds are, guys, but I do have some Pearl X mica powders there. So I'm just going to do them white because I've never poured in them. So I just really want to know what they are. I know two of them, excuse me, two of them I purchased, and I purchased them for the girl that had the baby. And I know that two of them should be unicorns. The other two, I'm not sure because I got those in an order from Michelle at Glitz and Glitter when I placed that big order that I had from her. So that's where the other two molds come from. So, like I said, I don't know, or I didn't know what, you know, they were until I poured, and I didn't have enough to pour all four, but I did get at least two of them poured. Yeah, I'm just really sitting here trying to figure out what these molds are. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. I don't remember which two that Michelle had given me in my order, and the two that I bought. But I think the two here that I have in my hand now came from Michelle. And the other ones, I believe, I know I purchased. I'm going to have to look back on my accounts and see where it came from and really what it is. Um, I, I'm almost positive I didn't get to pour in it, so I still don't know really what it is. I know I need to get out all my little molds like this, my character molds, and find out what is what and label them because I do have a lot and I don't know. I just now found something that will write on silicone and kind of stay for a little bit. I mean, it's not 100%, but it does stay long enough for you to, you know, keep it for a little bit. And then once it starts, wiping off, then you can, re write on it so you'll know what it is. Yeah, I just need to get all my molds, for sure, and, get all those done. Um, so I can get everything labeled. I started labeling, um, and then it wasn't doing me no good because they were all wiping off. But I did find some oil-based markers, so that's what's working. Um, but it's not 100%. It stays on for a little bit, but it will come off. So, you know, you're just going to have to go back over it. But, it does last for, a little bit, you know, more than what the, permanent marker and the acrylic paints do. So here I have my cups, and the gold there, I've got all my colors out. The gold is for the my center of my Larimar, and but I've picked all my colors. I have my whites, and I have four other colors. Well, I have two other colors off to the side, but you guys can't see those. And I wound up using one of them because, the purple just was not purple enough for me. But so I'm going to separate it into four cups. Five, actually, because you got to have you know, your clear for your push. So this is the Gauge Green by Eye Candy. And this is the the pink rose or rose pink from Eye Candy. And the other one is a lilac. It's the light purple. And then this other one is Winter Snow, and that's by Her Arts Glitter Co. or something, I think. I'll have it linked in the description box. I don't even know if she's still in business. I got this at a kind of like a flea market. It's huge where I'm at. They do it once a month, literally, and it's acres and acres and acres. And so that's I think she was out there, and that's where I found it. But anyway, I'll link it in the description. I'll look on the internet and see if she's still in business. If she is, I'll link it. But it is very pretty color. I love the color of it. So, and then I'll be using Bond Crafter, and I'm going to be doing 6 ounces of resin. So I'll do 6 ounce or 3 ounces of part B and 3 ounces of part A. And I'm going to get my mixer out here because I'm going to need it. So that is the Resiners dual mixer. Love that thing. Oh my God. It's the best thing that has happened to me in a while as far as a tool goes. But I always pour my part B first. That's just always the way I've done it, guys. So, I mean, you do it however you want to do it, but I've always poured my B first, and then I pour my A because, of course, A is heavier. And I guess maybe I was always taught to do, the B first because, the B is your hardener. So, you got to have more of that than you got to have of A. So I think that was the whole purpose. But I'm just putting it here on the mixer. And I will say that this mixer here, it you don't get a whole lot of bubbles. But then with this Bond Crafter resin, I love this stuff. I mean, with this, you don't get a whole lot of bubbles, period. I mean, I can put that mixer on super high and super fast, and there's hardly any bubbles in that resin whatsoever. So that resin really degasses really, really good. I mean, I've had no issues with it. Um, but there's really only two resins that I'm really, that I can say that I really love, and that's Bond Crafter and Let's Resin. But Bond Crafter for sure, I've been using a lot of that here lately, and just because it degasses very good. And here, I'm just fixing to take it off the mixer. Now, I clean my mixer with like a little scraper tool. You can get these scraper tools on Amazon. All they are is, what they use to color your hair with. So, so I just use that to scrape that uh, mixing paddle off real good. And then after I'm done, I will go in, once I put all this in the vacuum chamber, I'll go back in and I'll take it apart and I'll clean it with alcohol. And I'll show you guys how I do that too. Um, just in case there's any new people in here that don't know, how to do it. I'll make sure I have that, you know, well, I do have it in here. I'm not going to make sure, but I do have it in here where I clean my tools, and I use 99% rubbing alcohol on everything. Um, I don't change back and forth. I have the lower percentage of alcohol. I just keep forgetting to use it, and I know I should because that's cheaper than the 99%, but it doesn't dawn on me to use it. So I just go in there and scrape it all off and put it in my cup. So once I get it scraped down, then I just wipe the thing off the side of my cup, as you can see. Um, so yeah, that's really all I'm, you know. But it's super easy to clean. Um, you know, I did get one of their handheld mixers here not too long ago, so I'm going to be trying that one out soon. Um, and I'm hoping it's just as good as the dual mixer, for something quick and fast and easy, that I don't want to pull out the big mixer. For big items, yeah, I can pull it out, but for small items, then I can just use the little handheld mixer. And there I am cleaning off my tool with alcohol. I always clean my tool. Now here you want to make sure that you are scraping your sides and your bottom real good. Now, did you guys see how many bubbles were in that cup? Even before I started stirring, there was none. And that's Bond Crafter. I mean, this stuff is amazing. And this is their regular cure. This isn't even fast set. So, and their fast set's the same way. I mean, and they're a fraction of the cost of, as it is with most resins. So they're a lot cheaper. Now I do use the Let's resin in like my deeper molds because I know that their regular resin will withstand pouring deeper. I don't know about Bondcrafter yet because I haven't pushed the limit to make sure that I don't get a flash cure. I haven't tested it. I've got to test it to see exactly how much I can pour in a mold. Like those molds sitting there. Okay, I know Let's resin will work in that, but I don't know if Bondcrafter will. So that's what I've got to test. Because there's no sense in having to buy 2, 3, 4, 5 different resins when one resin will do the whole job. And here I'm just mixing up, I'm just pouring my resin into the 5 cups. So technically I have 6 cups because I have the clear one in my hand, the big cup, and that'll be for my push. And I'm trying to make sure that I get them all even. Even though I know I'm not going to need much of, any color more than the white. The white, because, the white's just what goes with the Larimar. So the other colors I don't really need a whole lot of, just enough to go around, the edges. But other than that, you know, I don't need really a whole lot of resin in any of these cups because I did have, quite a bit of extra left. Well, not quite a bit, but I had some extras left, enough to pour at least 2 molds. So, um, and now that I just thought of that, I did pour Bondcrafter in those 2 molds, and I know Bondcrafter will go that deep because that's what I used. Duh. Oh my god. How dumb can I be? So yes, never mind. Scratch that. Don't listen to what I said about that. It's been a while since I've taped this video. I mean, I had 19 videos to get through, and I've got this one and 2 more. And I'm already starting to make more videos so I can have those, you know, going behind the ones that I've still got to do. So, yeah, that's, it it's just it's a full-time job, guys. Full-time job. I kid you not. But here I'm just mixing up, mixing up my colors. And that's that pink that I was telling you about. And I really like the colors that I chose. I mean, the colors are amazing. And I'm just more of a tealish, mint green, pink kind of gal. Um, but that's me. I love those colors together. But then I like navy blue and bright pink, or a darker pink, not like super bright, but a darker pink, you know. So anything pink, black and pink, you know, well, even black and teal goes together. So, but anyway, that's just me. So, and now I'm pulling out the purple because I'm fixing to wind up putting purple in this other cup, but it it was just it was too light, and I didn't use the Let's Resin at first. I did use the acrylic, and this is acrylic ink too, by the way, and it is just a liquid. Oh no, I used the Baltic Day pigment paste. I'm sorry. Um, the other one was a pale pink, and that's the one I didn't use. But that purple was way too light. That was not the color that I was going for at all. I wanted something a little bit brighter. Um, so that's why I pulled out my acrylic inks, and all it is just it's basically acrylic paint, but it's just in a dropper form where it's more liquidy. But you don't want to put much, because you can ruin your resin by putting in too much either mica powder or alcohol inks, anything. Your ratio has to be right. I forget what the percentage is to resin versus pigments or whatever. So you can ruin you know your resin, and it won't cure if you put too much you know products in there. So just keep that in mind. Don't go overboard. Don't go crazy. That's that winter storm, or no, it's winter snow. That it's that gold that's up there in the left hand corner. Um, and I just love that color. It's a off white, but it's got just a touch of gold in it with a little bit of sparkle and shimmer. Oh God, it's gorgeous. I mean, yeah. And then that was the gauge green that I used, and I really do. I I love that color. Next time I buy that from Eye Candy, I will be getting the bigger jar. I bought the small one because I mean, I don't really use a lot of mica powders, and I thought with all the mica powders that I have, I thought, well, this stuff's gonna last me forever, and I'm not no way gonna run out while I use that. I love that color, and I really want to get some more of them. But and then here's the pink, and I love that pink. The only thing I didn't like is the purple, but like I said, I added to it because it was just too pale. I'm looking for a darker shade of what like the pink and the green is, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I added a little bit of acrylic ink, and that acrylic ink has kind of the shimmer, shine, sparkle that that winter snow mica powder has. Gorgeous. And it's really pretty by itself. But I wanted that pigment paste to kind of have that mica powder look, with the shimmer and all that. And it just didn't have it. It was to me it was flat. So here I'm going to pour in some of this uh purple lilac to kind of hopefully, darken it up just a little bit more. And then that actually worked, believe it or not. I was shocked, but it did work to get the color that I was actually going for. I achieved the color. And I do believe I had to excuse me. I do believe that I had to add some more of the winter snow in because it was still too light for me. I wanted it a little bit darker. But um but I like how that purple turned out. And it's got the shimmer, you can see it. It's got the glisten and the shimmer to it that, the rest of the pigments have now. Because otherwise with that Baltic Day it just would have been a flat light purple. And I didn't want that. I wanted it to have a shine to it. So I mean, I don't know why. It probably would have anyway once I poured it all in there together. But and then that's the white, and that was supposed to be really kind of a transparent, just not opaque, but just before opaque. And I put way too much in there. So yeah, just know, and I'm not gonna lie, blooms and Larimars are hard to achieve. It's just one of those things you got to just keep practicing at it. I mean, this is my second one, you know. So you're going to have failures, but don't give up. Keep going. You got this. You can do it. I believe in you. And then once you get it, then and you'll remember, hey, okay, I did this, this, and this, and this is how much I put in, and I got it. And you'll have it every time after that. So, but sometimes, like we always say, resin does what resin wants to do. And, you know, of course, resin, it just, it all depends on your temperature, the humidity, the this, the that. That all plays a factor. So, just because it doesn't turn out the first time, don't give up. Keep on going. And here's those rags that I was telling you guys about that I got off of Amazon. And there I'm cleaning the paddle off with alcohol. And I took the stick off of it because the paddle and the stick comes off. But I always take the stick off in case, resin gets up around the stick and down in the hole of the paddle. I always want to make sure I get all that clean. So, and then I'll leave it off, overnight or whatever till I go back in there and need to use it again, and then I'll put it back on. That way it doesn't, you know, get stuck to itself and I can't get it off. Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure that would probably happen to me because, things like that usually do happen to me. And here I'm just taking everything out of the vacuum chamber. So, I did put everything in the vacuum chamber, cleaned up my mess and all that, off camera. And then I'm taking everything out of the vacuum chamber and we're fixing to get this Larimar poured. Now, I had a little bit of dirt here in my mold, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have used a piece of tape. I don't know why I used that rag in that mold. I know better than that. But, I mean, hey. So your white, here I'm pouring my white first. And after that, after I get it all moved around in there, because like I said, this mold here was really shallow. They're not deep molds. And like I said, I got these from Michelle from Glitz and Glitter. And I love her molds too, by the way. I mean, her molds are good. I've had a lot of different molds. I bought some from Julie Cuts from Pouring Your Heart Out. And yeah, no. And hers, I mean, she's not real expensive, don't get me wrong. She's not. But by the time you pay fees to get it over here, it's a lot. And yeah, I've got to fix every one of them. So I've literally only casted in like one or two of those molds. Now Michelle's molds are awesome. I mean, that's one thing I can say. You know, she takes pride in what she lets go out her door, and I like that about her, because if it's not good, she doesn't send it. So, my hats are off to her, because she does a phenomenal job on the molds, I have to say. And here I'm just making sure that my white's spread real good before I start adding my color. And then I'm wipe my stick off. Now, I mean, if you use a stick, make sure you wipe your stick off. But, you don't, I don't guess you really have to, because it's all going down into the white anyway. So, I'm going to start pouring the green. And I go around the outer edge of my mold first. Um, to get my resin poured. And here I'm just kind of slowly stirring it, because I've already put it through the vacuum chamber. So you got to remember that. So if you do have a vacuum chamber or a debubbler, once you take it out, if you don't have to stir it, don't stir it. But if you do, just make sure you stir it real slow. Nope, apparently I forgot. I start with the pink first. I thought I started with the green. Like I said, it's been a while, guys, since I've taped this video. But I'm just going around the outer edge of the mold with the pink, and then I just kind of alternate. I do the pink, then I do the green, and I do the and here I decided I had way too much white in there, which, yeah, I mean, I had too much pigment too. I'm not gonna, I ain't gonna joke around with you on that one, because I definitely had way too much pigment, and that's no joke. And here I'm just taking some of that white out, because I had to take it out so I could leave room for the rest of my pigments that were going in there as well. Because like I said, I mean, they're shallow molds. They're not super deep. Um, I mean, I've seen deeper molds, but these molds, I think, were some of her maybe some of her first ones she ever done. So, and then I'm just going around here with the green, and then I'm going to come in with the gold after I put more pink in there. I don't I don't know why it didn't need more pink. The pink's already spreading. So, and here I'm just going around it with the gold, and it looks like a wheat color, kind of a yellowish whatever. Um very pretty gold. Just absolutely gorgeous. And then now I'm coming in with the purple, and I'm going around the outer part on top of the pink. And there I realized I messed up. Made a mistake. What do you guys think I did? Well, for one, all my colors were supposed to be poured straight in the middle. I do this every time. Both times I've done a Larimar, I have went around the outer edge. I don't know why. I knew what I was supposed to do, and I'm like, it just totally blows my mind that I messed up again on this dadgum Larimar. Quit laughing at me, dog. But so anyway, yeah, it's yeah. So anyway, it is what it is. Can't go back and change it. So I'm just gonna roll with it. You know, I'm just gonna let it go, because that's what my husband would have said. Just let it go. Um, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna get something pretty out of it. I mean, at this point, I'm at the mercy of the resin gods, because I don't know what this is going to turn out like. So we shall see. Um, yeah, it just made me sick because I knew. I mean, literally, it had dawned on me once I poured that flipping purple what I did wrong. But you know, it is what it is, and it'll turn out. If not, then I'll redo it. Um, because I'm not done with these Larimars. I'm gonna keep doing them because I think they're so pretty, and there's so many colors, that you can do with them, and it just, yeah. I mean, I love them. That's just like blooms. I love blooms, so I'm not gonna stop doing them. Just because I fail at it. That's just not who I am. I don't give up. And I dang sure don't let nothing defeat me like these darn things are doing. But I mean, like I said, just keep going. It's a learning curve. But and we all make mistakes. I mean, look at me. I've made them. In fact, I've done made it twice on the same attempt. So but it'll be fine. It's gonna turn out. I think it'll be pretty. And I did have a little bit of resin left, so I am going to pour it in these extra molds because I'm, curious to see what these two molds are that I got from Michelle, because I I did place a big order. Now I'm going to tell you guys, if y'all are using a torch, or even one of them little small torches like that one that I have, don't get near your silicone, because you confuse your resin to your mold. And that is no joke, you can. And when I mean fuse, you're going to melt your resin. It's going to get hot enough, you're going to melt it to your mold. And then you're going to tear your mold when you go to take your piece out. So just make sure that you have plenty of resin in there, and just make sure that it's deep enough, and that you stay away from the silicone or the outer edges of your mold, because you will fuse it together, and then you're going to be sick about it, especially if it's, a high quality mold and a handmade mold that you paid, plenty of money for. So, yeah. Now, I'm fixing to put my crystals in the center. Now, I'll say I don't like the big centers, like a flower. I like the smaller centers. Um, I've seen people that, put a whole lot in there and then they spread it out real big. I don't like that. I'm a small person. I like I like them smaller, more defined, more, closed up in itself, neat and tidy. And that's just how I like mine. Now, if y'all like y'all's bigger, by all means, you go right on ahead and you make the center of that as big as you want to make it. It's your resin, it's your art. You do what you want to do. But this is just, me. And everybody has their own way of doing things and their own side of it. So by all means, you do it the way you like it. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to look at it. You're the one that's going to be selling it, if you're selling it. Um, so you make it your way, and you make it how you want to make it. And don't let nobody tell you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. Now, granted, there is sometimes that we people will say, oh, you need to do your resin this way. There are some things that you do have to do a certain way, but when it comes to decoration, that kind of thing, you know, you do it how you want to do it, and there's no law saying you can't do that. But now, like with this, there's a certain technique. With blooms, there's a certain technique. things like that, yeah. But as far as decoration and all that goes, no, you do however you want. Not gonna hurt my feelings whatsoever. I mean, if we were all the same, that would be kind of boring. But here I'm just adding all the resin because I didn't have it all the way filled up. So I was just making sure that I had it all filled up. But I did have enough to um do one of the molds though. So I did do the mold after I get done, pouring all this in there. And I did do it white, that Pearl X, because like I said, it wasn't necessarily for this video. I just wanted to see what it was. So it won't be in the ending photos, but I do got to get all my stuff out and label my molds and all that. And I was in the process of doing some of it, and then I had to make videos and stuff. So yeah, I do need to get all my molds out, especially the deep ones, and label them so I know what they are. And I need to start doing that as soon as they come in. But then it's hard to tell what they are, so you got to pour in them. But anyway, but like I said, with the Larimar though, you know, it is what it is. It's either going to turn out pretty or it's not going to turn out pretty. So, nothing I can do about it. I did it wrong again. But I'm eventually going to get it in my head that I got to do certain things first. It's just not sinking in to this stroke-minded brain of mine, but I'll get it. I guess I need to probably get a piece of paper and write it down, right? And put it right there in front of me so I'll know exactly the steps. That's crazy. But yeah, I haven't gotten a Larimar to come out yet. Not the way a Larimar's supposed to come out. But now I have to admit though, I have liked the way they have come out. So, with that being said, that's, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a loss the first time I did it. Um, and, it's not going to be a loss this time either. So it did turn out, relatively pretty. Well, I say relatively, but y'all see what I'm talking about. And I wish the video wouldn't have been messed up because literally the reaction that I got and I had when I demolded this thing, I was shocked, guys. I mean, you could literally hear it in my voice. I was so shocked. And I wish this video wouldn't have been messed up with the sound because oh my god, I just wish y'all could have heard it. But it turned out amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I loved the way it turned out. Did I get a Larimar? We'll see. But I was super excited though. Um, not even gonna lie. But here I'm gonna take that is the little turtle shell that um I had for that um the shaker turtle. So I needed the shell and I didn't have any clear at the time. Now I've got clear, so I went ahead and filled it up. And then what I have left, I'm going to take and add, the white and stuff to it, and then I'm going to pour it in that other mold so I can figure out what it is, because the suspense is killing me at this point. I mean, I've been sitting on those molds for quite a while, so I'm just kind of curious. But yeah, there I'm just telling you, I went around and around, wasn't supposed to do that. I was supposed to pour it in the middle, straight. But, I didn't, so there's that. But, hey, that old saying, practice makes perfect. Well, by the time it's all said and done, I'm going to have a lot of practice on these Larimars, apparently. Because I've done two. And haven't gotten the results that I'm supposed to get. But they hadn't been bad results though. In fact, just a spoiler alert, this one here, I sold it. Yeah, so I don't even have it anymore. Um, they seen it, they wanted it, I sold it to them. So you know, so what, just because you think it's horrible and it didn't turn out doesn't mean that somebody else is not going to like it, because believe it or not, they will. And I literally had it. I had somebody come over and they seen it was sitting on my coffee table and they wanted it. And so they bought it. So, just because you think it's bad doesn't mean that everybody's going to look at it. You know it's bad because you know what you did wrong. But that other person doesn't know that it's not supposed to look that way, you know? So don't don't get rid of it, you know, or any of that. Keep it. You don't ever know. I mean, and if you are selling your items or whatever, and it doesn't sell, then maybe sell it as a blooper, or a mistake or whatever, and then you can maybe mark it down just a little bit or whatever, you know. I do know that Michelle, she does that on her website. She puts things, when she messes up, she puts them as a blooper, and she sells them for a little bit cheaper than, whatever. So, and that's what I will wind up doing, on the mistakes and things that I've made or whatever. I'll wind up putting them on there as, you know, a mistake. I'm not going to say blooper because that was, her side of it, but I will come up with a name unless one of you guys can figure out a really cool name to name all the mistakes that I have or whatever. Um, so if you got a cool name, drop it in the comment, and I'll hey, I may use it. You don't ever know. So, but here I'm just filling up this little mold. And I didn't have enough for the other one. I wished I would have, because I really wanted to see what all four of them were, but I didn't get to. Oh no, I did fill this one up. I did have enough to fill this one up. Okay, so I filled these two up. It was the other two that was bigger that I didn't have enough for. But that's okay. I mean, it all turned out in the end. But, you know, it's it is what it is. you know, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that darn Larimar other than oops. I did it wrong. But it's fine. It still turned out pretty though. And here I'm just filling up the rest of this mold. And when I demolded this, I was rather shocked to what they were. I mean, I wasn't expecting, what it was. I never even thought, you know, because I mean, I've seen them, before, not on her channel, but um on some other place, and I've seen them. So um as little figurines or whatever they are, I don't know. It's like, but yeah, I mean, I've seen them before because I had thought about getting them, and they come in a set, and I was like, yeah, nah, I don't want to do that because I'm not really into those things, whatever. But but yeah, I mean, they're super cute, and like I said, there's a whole set of them. So but I don't know if somebody bought her that or whatever, but I think she's only got the one. But it's like I said, it's still super cute. And I'm just trying to finish filling this up because I was missing a little bit of resin there. Not that it matters. I mean, I was just really trying to see, you know, I don't even know how much they hold because I didn't even measure to see how much they even held. I just filled them up. Yeah. I, yeah. This day I don't know what was going on in my brain. Apparently it wasn't braining that day because I didn't see how much the molds held. I know I did 6 ounces, but I couldn't tell you how much each one of them held because I didn't look at my cup. I forgot yet again. Even with that, I always forget. So, you know, it is what it is. It's called, what is it? What do people call it? Old timers. Yeah, I feel it. But, and then here I'm just going to clean off my tools and stuff and get everything cleaned up. And then we will get ready for the demold part. But I love the gold in that though. The gold is super pretty. I mean, you can see it. You can see the green a little bit. It's got a little hint of the green, but not, you know, but and then the purple showing through. Unfortunately, it doesn't, you know, in the end, but right now it's showing a little bit, but I'm definitely going to do it again, and I'm going to do the same colors because I think those colors worked really good together. So, you know, but don't forget to make sure you do clean off your tools, because if you leave that resin on your silicone tools over time, when you're trying to peel it off, it'll start cracking your tools. And the only reason why I know that, because even though I do clean my tools, if it just because it seeped, I guess, into the silicone or whatever of the tools, like my bigger, thicker ones, they're already cracking at the ends, you know. So, but yeah, that's so definitely make sure you clean your tools off real good and all that, so you don't, ruin your tools. But all right, guys, I will see you guys here in a little bit, and I'll see you on demold. All right, guys, we're back. Time to demold. All right, let's get this party started, shall we? Yeah, I'm nervous. And here I'm just loosening it up. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 3. 3. Didn't get the Larimar that I was looking for. But however, it's not a total failure. I did get some lacing effects in there. I don't like the big white blob in the center. It should have been moved over a little bit because, the center, I think, is where the gold is, or to me, I don't know, but that's what it looks like to me. So it wasn't a huge complete failure, you know. Um, I did get the lacing effect, and I love the colors together. Now you can't see the purple, the pink and the white really took over. So I think the purple needed to be a little bit darker. You can see the purple a little bit on the sides, but not, it's just a faint hint of it. Um, so either A, I'd have to leave the purple out, or B, make it darker and lighten up the pink, because the pink was kind of, you know, either that or, well, maybe if I would have poured it in the center, it might have turned out a little different, if I would have done it correctly. But, when does Tina ever do anything correctly? Apparently never. Because I've done two and I hadn't got them right yet. So, but it did turn out pretty though. I mean, like I said, I sold it. So, I mean, hey, somebody liked it. And, I think this is the one that I sold. I'll have to look and see, but I think it is. I think it's the one I sold. But I like the lacing effect, I mean, so I did get the lacing effect in there. I wished I would have got, a lot bigger lacing effects, but hey, I'm happy with that turnout because, at the end of the day, I was looking for a Larimar, didn't get that, it failed, but this wasn't a total loss. So when we're doing Larimars, we say, is it going to be a Larry failure or is it going to be a Larry success? And that's, it's just, you know, not it. I mean, this is only my second time, so if my brain would work, I would know that you've got to pour it in the center, not around the edge, and I forget that every time. But I did get better because I remembered after I poured all of them. So last time I didn't remember at all, but this time I did remember when I poured all of them, around the outer edge. But at that point it was a little too late. But yeah, all in all though, I mean I liked it. It turned out, and I just don't like the big white blob. And here, this is that turtle shell that I was telling you guys about. That I needed clear for that shaker, for the turtle shaker mold that I have. Um, and I believe I got that on Amazon. I'll have everything linked in the description box. So, y'all can just, if you're wanting them or whatever, you can just go to the link and pull it up. Now this mold, I can link it in, because I got this from Michelle and it was a pig. So, all right, guys, with that being said, that's the end of the video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.